Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Kerry Makin-Byrd, a clinical psychologist and executive coach to leaders and serial entrepreneurs. This is part of a series I'm doing where I am interviewing some of my very favorite therapists in the world, the people that I refer my friends to highlight what they do and give you a chance to get to know them too. So today we have Dr. Amanda Nazee, and I'm going to ask her to introduce herself as well.
Hi, everyone. My name is Dr. Amanda Nazee, and I am so excited to be here today to talk just a little bit more about what I do and share some time with Dr. Kerry Makin-Byrd. She's amazing and fantastic, and I'm just feeling very fortunate to be a part of this community and be able to tell you a little bit more about my practice and what I specialize in today.
Awesome. For anyone who's watching this, there's no paid advertising. This is all just willing. Everyone is just volunteering their time. Amanda was not paid to say any of those things. Amanda, do you mind telling us a little bit about what families and kids, how would people watch this know that they're a good fit for you?
Yeah, so in my practice, which is called Growing Together Child and Family Therapy, my main focus is working with kids in the context of their families. And so the work that I do with kids also includes work with families. And I work with kids that have big feelings and big behaviors. And I have done work with kids with big feelings and big behaviors for over a decade, and they can be caused by many types of things. Like sometimes it's ADHD or anxiety or OCD or trauma or just stressful life events. And so my specialty is helping kids navigate their big emotions and help families learn how to navigate those big behaviors. And so I focus a lot in my practice on helping build positive skills and positive parenting techniques, because while I see children and families 1 hour a week, families see each other 7 days a week. And so I'm very focused not only on helping children learn about their emotions, but also helping families learn how to guide them through their big emotions and behaviors as well.
Amanda, do you mind sharing in your work, what are some of the skills that kids and parents learn that feel really useful? Like they really make a change?
Definitely. So one of the things that I like to think about in my practice is that children want to be seen, heard, and loved. And so that's sort of where we start, is because sometimes when big feelings or big behaviors show up to the table, it's hard to communicate those things to our kids. And it's hard for kids to know that they're seen, that they're heard, and that they're loved, because you're spending a lot of time trying to change things or support them or give discipline or navigate these giant meltdowns. And sometimes those things can be lost. So that's often the very first place that I start with all families that I work with, is working on how do we see our kids? How do we describe and notice what they're doing throughout the day? How do we describe and notice the feelings that they have? And then we want to be able to hear our kids. So how, when we listen, do we let them know that we're listening? By reflecting back and repeating back what we hear. And by asking open-ended questions like, tell me more, or then what happened? And that really helps kids know that they're heard. And then the last thing is that they're loved. And so I work with parents on how do we express that, both with the time that we're spending together, but also how do we communicate that through simple statements of, I'm so proud of you when you did this. I love that this happened. Thank you so much for sharing with me. And so learning how to give positive feedback, learning how to listen, and learning how to tune in and see our kids and describe their feelings and what they're doing is often the place I start.
Oh, love. Okay, beautiful. I'm going to, as myself, as both a professional, but also, of course, a mother, I'm going to treasure that phrase of seen, heard, loved. That's such an important reminder, especially when in this current season of life, we have so many opportunities to be with our children all the time.
Yes.
So my guess is you have heard this about 1,000 times before, but I am predicting that there's someone watching this right now who is thinking, but I'm not going to reward my kids' bad behavior. Why would I be seeing, hearing, and loving them when they're flipping a table or flushing the cat down the toilet?
Great question. Sometimes when kids have really big behaviors like that, it's hard to find the time to see, hear, and love them because there's just so much going on and it's hard to find those moments of connection. And so in those times, what we want to do is we want to make sure that we understand the difference between what our child is doing and their behavior and who our child is. And so in those times, we're not going to see, hear, and love the behavior and what they're doing. We are going to see, hear, and love the child. And so we're waiting for those moments where they calm down. We're waiting for those moments when they're doing something positive. We're pointing out the things that they're doing that are helping them move more and more towards being their regulated, happy kiddo selves. And that is what makes it effective. And I think sometimes we think, oh, we have to start with discipline. We have to start with stopping the behavior. But oftentimes our attention is like a flashlight. Whatever we shine it on happens more. So if we're spending all of our time and our effort and our energy to stopping a behavior, it might stop it for a moment, but it's actually going to increase the likelihood that that behavior is going to happen again. And so when we can shift our spotlight and shift our flashlight and we can focus on the positive things that they're doing, that helps the kid refocus on the positive things that they're doing too. And that's what starts that change. That doesn't mean that discipline isn't necessary. That doesn't mean that there's not a time and a place for it. It just means often when things have gotten intense, it's really helpful to shift back and find that positive because your child has lost sight of that too.
Oh, love it. Okay, beautiful. What are, if you don't mind me asking, what are some of these skills you learned in your professional life that you feel especially grateful for in your personal life?
I think the thing, especially during these times where we're at home all together a lot, that I feel most grateful for is learning about the importance of slowing down and spending even just 5 minutes a day with my son. And time where I'm just focused on him and he's teaching me something new or leading me in a fun game of superheroes and Toy Story figures. I don't know what it is, but just that time, that 5 minutes that I can slow down and focus on him and let him sort of lead through whatever fun and creative thing we're doing really changes the pace of our whole day. And it sounds like too simple to be effective or to be true. And it sounds kind of like that's just what the hokey psychologists say. And at the same time and time again, I hear families that I work with, my friends that I share information with, just give me feedback. And even in my own days, how powerful that is. Whenever I notice things are getting kind of rough again, it's often because I've lost sight and lost track of those 5 minutes a day that I spend with my son. And when I start them up again, it really helps us get back on track, and it helps him be more independent throughout his day because he knows that he's gotten that focused attention from me.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. Awesome. Anything else you want to make sure to communicate to anyone before we wrap up?
Yeah, I think the thing that I want to communicate is a lot of times I meet with families that are like, I've read every book, I've tried to do all of these things, and I don't know. And the biggest thing I want to communicate with parents is you are the expert on your child, and working on helping with their big feelings and their big behaviors. A lot of times it's about finding the order that we need to focus things on. So figuring out what is important to focus on first to help make sure that they're successful. And it's not so much that you're doing the wrong thing. Sometimes it's just that an outside perspective can kind of help organize it in a way that's more effective and impactful. And so when seeking help, it's more like you're finding somebody to kind of help guide you through or help you organize the information you have. Oftentimes when I'm meeting with families, and it's not that I'm always telling them something new. Sometimes I am, but most of the time I'm just helping them figure out how do you put together what you know in a meaningful way so that it helps your child and you kind of grow together.
Oh, beautiful. And Amanda, I don't know if this is true in your professional experience. I know that in my own path of continuing always to learn how to be a values consistent parent, and for my partner, there are times where we have a sense of what might work, or we have some hunches, and we have some clear things from our own history that we don't want to repeat. And it feels there is a menu, but there's also a ton of uncertainty.
Mm-hmm.
And I can imagine it might feel comforting, as I know it has when I've consulted with friends around when my daughter's struggling. The kind of clarity and direction of someone saying, yes, that's the discomfort that we're going for as we learn a new skill that is going to play out and is evidence-based and is taking you where you want to go.
Yes. And first of all, when parents recognize, hey, I don't want to repeat this with my kid, just pause and pat yourself on the back, right? Because I think those are the moments that we all focus on and we think about that make us better parents and kind of help us create wonderful human beings. And so that's a huge, powerful moment in and of itself. And I think that is one of the things that's hard about creating new patterns with your family, sometimes generational patterns, is that it's painful and uncomfortable sometimes. And sometimes I think we misinterpret that painful and uncomfortable means I'm not doing the right thing, or that we're not on the right track, or that I might be hurting my child. And pain and discomfort is a part of growth. And there's a difference between pain and discomfort and causing trauma. And I think if families have had trauma in their own past or in their family, it can be very scary because you don't want to repeat that pattern and you don't want to harm your child. And so sometimes, yeah, having someone to help guide through that and kind of help know the difference is really, really powerful and can be really helpful.
Love it. Oh, Amanda, thank you so much for taking the time to walk us through some of your perspective and practice. And it's been a real treat. So how can people find you if they want more information or would like to follow you on the interwebs?
Sounds great. The easiest place to find me is my website. So going to www.growingtogethertherapy.com. And there you can find more information about my practice. You can also send me information so that I can contact you to kind of discuss if I would be a fit, if you're interested. And I also can, through that website, I'm kind of working on adding links and other sources of information so that you can find more information about things that I discuss in my practice.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of your day, Amanda.
You too.